The Great Fire of 1910. The Great Fire of 1910, also commonly referred to as the Big Blowup, the Big Burn, or the Devil's Broom Fire, was a wildfire in the inland northwest region of the United States that in the summer of 1910 burned 3 million acres, 4,700 square miles, 12,100 square kilometers, approximately the size of Connecticut, in North Idaho and western Montana, with extensions into eastern Washington and southeast British Columbia. The area burned included large parts of the Bitterroot, Cabinet, Clearwater, Coeur, Flathead, Kaniksu, Kootenai, Lewis and Clark, Lolo, and St. Joe National Forests. The fire burned over 2 days on the weekend of August 20th to 21st, after strong winds caused numerous smaller fires to combine into a firestorm of unprecedented size. It killed 87 people, mostly firefighters, destroyed numerous man-made structures, including several entire towns, and burned more than 3 million acres of forest with an estimated $1 billion worth of timber lost. While the exact cause of the fire is often debated, according to various U.S. Forest Service sources, the primary cause of the big burn was a combination of severe drought and a series of lightning storms that ignited hundreds of small fires across the Northern Rockies. However, the ignition sources also include human activity such as railroads, homesteaders, and loggers. It is believed to be the largest, although not the deadliest, forest fire in U.S. history. A number of factors contributed to the destruction caused by the Great Fire of 1910. The wildfire season started early that year because the winter of 1909 to 1910 and the spring and summer of 1910 were extremely dry, and the summer sufficiently hot to have been described as like no others. The drought resulted in forests with abundant dry fuel, in an area which had previously experienced dependable autumn and winter moisture. Hundreds of fires were ignited by hot cinders flung from locomotives, sparks, lightning, and backfiring crews. By mid-August, there were 1,000 to 3,000 individual fires burning in Idaho, Montana, and Washington. In the aftermath of the fire, the U.S. Forest Service received considerable recognition for its firefighting efforts, including a doubling of its budget from Congress. The outcome was to highlight firefighters as public heroes while raising public awareness of national nature conservation. The fire is often considered a significant impetus in the development of early wildfire prevention and suppression strategies. 19th century and early firefighting. In the eastern United States, with its significant rainfall, wildfires are relatively small and have rarely posed great risk to life and property. As settlements moved further west into drier areas, the first large-scale fires were encountered. Range fires on the Great Plains and forest fires in the Rocky Mountains were far larger and more destructive than what had ever been seen in the East. Yellowstone National Park was established in 1872 as the world's first national park. For the next several years, administration of the park languished until 1886, when the U.S. Army was assigned the responsibility for its protection. Upon its arrival in the park, the Army found numerous fires burning in developed areas, as well as in areas where it was not reasonable to control them. The commanding officer decided that human-caused fires along roads posed the biggest threat and that the Army would concentrate its suppression efforts on the control of those fires. There were not enough soldiers to fight all of the fires. Thus came the first conscious decision by a manager of federal land to allow some fires to burn while others were controlled. The policy of fire suppression was also applied to Sequoia, General Grant, and Yosemite National Parks when they were established in 1890, and Army patrols were initiated to guard against fires, livestock trespass, and illegal logging. An illustration of people fleeing from the 1871 Peshtigo fire. A number of catastrophic fire events over the years greatly influenced fire management policies. The worst loss of life in United States history due to a wildfire occurred in 1871 when the Peshtigo fire swept through Wisconsin, killing more than 1,500 people. The Santiago, the Canyon Fire of 1889 in California, and especially the Great Fire of 1910 in Montana and Idaho, contributed to the philosophy that fire was a danger that needed to be suppressed. The Great Fire of 1910 had burned 3 million acres, 12,000 square kilometers, destroyed a number of communities and killed 86 people, and this event prompted various land management agencies to emphasize wildfire suppression. U.S. government land agencies, including the National Park Service, generally followed the fire management policies established by the U.S. Forest Service, which oversees the majority of the nation's forest lands. This would lead to the passage of the 1911 Weeks Act,